The world runs on one currency. From oil to global trade to entire economies, everything connects back to the US dollar. But what if, quietly, countries are starting to move away from it? No headlines, no sudden announcements, just silent shifts happening in the background. So the question is the world slowly abandoning the dollar? For decades, the US dollar has been the backbone of the global economy. Over 80% of international trade is conducted in dollars. Central banks across the world hold it as their primary reserve. It's not just a currency, it's power. But recently, something unusual has been happening. Countries are making deals in other currencies, gold reserves are rising, and new financial alliances are forming. This is not breaking news. This is a structural shift. And to understand it, we need to go back to where it all began. The story begins in 1944. World War II was coming to an end. Global leaders gathered in Bretton Woods to rebuild the global financial system. The result was powerful. The US dollar became the world's reserve currency, backed by gold. Every major currency was tied to the dollar, and the dollar was tied to gold. This created stability and unmatched influence. But then, in 1971, everything changed. The US removed the gold standard. The dollar became a fiat currency, and yet the world continued to trust it. Why? Because of something even more powerful: oil. The US made a deal with Saudi Arabia. Oil would be sold only in US dollars, creating the petrodollar system. If any country wanted oil, they needed dollars. This forced countries to hold dollar reserves and gave the US massive control. But this system worked only as long as everyone trusted it. And slowly, that trust is being questioned. What happens if countries no longer need dollars to trade? What happens if oil is no longer priced in dollars? In recent years, multiple countries have started making moves. China and Russia began trading in their own currencies. India started buying oil in non-dollar agreements. Saudi Arabia hinted at accepting other currencies. And then came BRICS: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa discussing alternatives to the dollar. Central banks started increasing gold reserves. Because gold doesn't depend on any country, it's neutral. The biggest shift is silent. More bilateral trade agreements, more currency swaps, less reliance on the dollar. This is about power. The US dollar allows the United States to control global liquidity and impose financial sanctions. But that power comes with consequences. Countries that face sanctions start looking for alternatives. And once created, they don't disappear. The dollar is still dominant. But its share in global reserves has been gradually declining, slowly shifting. Slow changes are harder to detect until it's too late. If the dollar loses dominance, the impact will be massive. Global trade systems could change. Financial power could shift. This is a slow rebalancing of global power. Are currencies just economic tools? No, they are geopolitical weapons. History has shown us that no system stays dominant forever. What will replace the dollar? Is this the beginning of a new financial era? Let me know in the comments.